Welcome to Sharika Talks, Unraveling the Truth, a journalist's quest. Subscribe for the truth.
Chapter 8, Patterns in the Dark. At 5:30 a.m., the Kerala Express began to slow down as it neared Tirupati railway station. For the past half hour, Constable Arjun Nair and ASI Radhakrishnan Menon had worked tirelessly, ensuring everything was in order. Though Arjun knew the procedures by heart, executing them alongside his seasoned superior offered lessons no textbook could teach. The moment Menon had seen the unconscious snatcher tied to the berth, he checked his pulse and immediately began radioing the Tirupati RPF outpost with a concise report. The man who introduced himself as Sachin had already done the heavy lifting, restraining the attacker and subduing him without fatal consequences. But if the man had died, things would have spiraled into chaos. When the TTE arrived, Arjun began recording statements while Menon took charge of the questioning. The girl, the man, and the TTE signed the statement as witnesses. As was standard in such cases involving passenger safety, the offense would be treated as a public threat rather than a personal complaint, unless the victim insisted otherwise. This girl had no such demands. Once Sharika's testimony was logged, Arjun heaved the unconscious man into a sitting position. After removing the rope which was retraining the thief, he cuffed his hands together. Yet the brute still didn't stir. "Any idea how long he'll be out?" Menon asked mockingly, raising an eyebrow at Sachin. 3 to 4 hours, maybe. Sachin replied innocently. "There's likely a clot behind his left ear, throwing off his balance. Pour water on his face and he'll wake up instantly." Menon narrowed his eyes. You could be in serious trouble if something had happened to him. Sachin met his gaze without flinching. "I wasn't trying to kill him, sir. It was an emergency. I had no other choice." With a nod from his superior, Arjun splashed water on the snatcher's face. The man stirred, blinking groggily. As the train pulled into Tirupati station, it took the combined strength of Arjun and Menon to escort the massive man off the train, where a waiting medical crew and RPF officers stood ready. Arjun couldn't help but wonder how the lean stranger had taken him down single-handedly. He doubted even he could have done the same, especially fresh out of sleep. The early morning light filtered through the dusty windows, bathing the platform in a ghostly gold. For a moment, it felt like the train was exhaling, purging something dark before the journey resumed. After transferring custody of the attacker, the statements, and the knife, the case moved to the local RPF unit. It would be up to them to file an FIR and present the accused to the courts. Just as the train horn blared, signaling the continuation of its journey, the TTE approached Sachin and Sharika. "So I assume you both missed the cancellation SMS from the railways? May I know your seat numbers, please?" "Seat 7, Sharika said. "And mine is 8, Sachin added. The TTE nodded. There was a major software glitch. Most passengers received a message saying, "Your reservation in train number 12625 has been canceled as the train was canceled due to operational reasons. Inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. A full refund has been initiated." However, no actual refunds were processed, and the tickets were never technically canceled. Only those who missed the SMS boarded the train. The rest opted out. The next confirmed passengers will board from Nellore when the new chart is prepared. As the TTE walked off, Sachin let out a small laugh. "Time to deal with the kids issue," he said, pulling out his phone and settling into a corner of the side lower berth. Sharika took the opposite seat. She had already decided not to inform her grandfather about the incident. It would only worry him unnecessarily. She unlocked her phone. An iPhone 16 Pro Max, a gift from her grandfather. She chuckled to herself. Her persistence had finally pushed the old man to upgrade from his beloved keypad phone to an iPhone last month. "New technology is for kids like you," he always used to say. If he still had that old phone, he wouldn't have missed the cancellation message too. And she wouldn't have been on this train. She glanced at Sachin. He looked completely absorbed in his phone. His phone must have been dead after the field trip, which explained why he missed the SMS too. His phone looked a bit more expensive for his pay grade, but then again, he worked at the largest school network in India. Opening her news app, she began her morning routine, a habit she'd cultivated when she first set her sights on becoming a journalist. Heavy rain continues across Kerala, especially in southern and northern districts. Suspicion of theft attempt at Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple. Authorities confirm nothing is missing. International school games to begin on August 28th in New Delhi. Mass confusion as IRCTC software glitch disrupts long-distance trains. She scrolled through the headlines distractedly. Her mind wasn't on the news. It was back in Coach S4 1 hour ago, replaying everything that had happened after she had fallen onto Sachin. The 5-minute conversation they shared. Her mind, now wide awake, slipped into what her friends teasingly called Sherlock mode. For Sharika, spotting patterns which no one notices had become more than a habit. It was a hobby, a guilty pleasure. The kind of private thrill you get when you're right and no one else has even started asking questions. Something didn't add up. This is a job for your inner journalist, she told herself. Everything he said had checked out. But something small, felt off. Her gut told her so. When she saw the headline about the international school games, her thoughts immediately returned to Sachin's story. She opened her browser and typed, DWIG Deep Wisdom Institute for the Gifted. She remembered applying for it in 10th grade without telling her grandfather. She had failed the first screening test miserably. That failure had driven her to push harder in academics ever since. As she dug deeper, she was awestruck. DWIG operated under a larger corporate umbrella, Deep Enterprises. It wasn't just a school network. It was a vast and elegant business empire, ranging from real estate and construction to biotechnology, renewable energy, food innovation, and even advanced research labs. They had social initiatives, old age homes, tech incubators, and even health supplements designed specifically for school-age children. They were everywhere, and yet oddly discreet. What stood out even more was their financial model. The company had expanded rapidly in just a decade, yet every article and financial audit pointed to one incredible fact. No external investors, no equity funding, no private or public offerings. Every expansion had been powered by carefully calculated bank loans and philanthropic donations. The company remained entirely privately held. It was almost unheard of for a billion-dollar organization. The public face of the company and its widely believed owner was Sukanya R. Nair, a highly charismatic, media-savvy CEO admired for her calm authority and business acumen. She was a regular face on TV panels, educational conferences, and humanitarian panels. Sharika found herself scanning every detail. She searched DWIG's faculty list. Nothing under physical education. Then finally, on a secondary list of part-time instructors, karate, Sachin S. Nadar. Her suspicion intensified. A company this powerful, and Sachin was just a part-time karate teacher? She glanced up at Sachin. He was dialing a number, his expression unreadable. In such a vast empire, why was he a part-time karate teacher, handling field trips, student transport, and emergencies all on his own? Why had he prioritized changing clothes and cleaning himself right after a near-fatal incident? Why did his eyes keep drifting toward his bag more than the snatcher? If his phone was dead after the field trip, how did he get the phone call he mentioned before? She did not remember seeing a phone which was charging next to him when she first met him. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe she was just overthinking. But then again, she remembered something she'd read once, a business theory. In every institution, especially the most successful ones, 90% of the actual work is done by just 10% of the people. She liked that theory. It made sense. Maybe Sachin was one of those rare 10%. That would explain everything, or nothing. She shook her head. Maybe I'm just acting like Sherlock again, she thought with a grin. Her friends always teased her about it, looking for patterns where there were none. But sometimes there were patterns. At that moment, Sachin clutched his bag a little tighter and took a deep breath. He tapped on a contact labeled Chugru, missed calls 251. A faint smile tugged at his lips, but it never reached his eyes. He was preparing for the storm that was about to come. End of
Thank you for
chapter 8.
watching Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest. Subscribe to stay updated on Sharika's journey. Stay tuned for the next part.
Disclaimer. Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest is a work of fiction. The experiences, ideas, and theories presented by the characters, including the books they write, are purely fictional and do not reflect real-world events, beliefs, or ideologies. While some incidents and characters may be inspired by real-world scenarios, they are entirely fictionalized for storytelling purposes. The author does not endorse or share the viewpoints expressed by any character in this novel. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised.